Hi, I'm Victor Margiotta, and this is The Community Show. My host tonight is Kacey Morabito. Thank you, Kacey, for coming on.
Thank you, Victor.
It's funny because I just had a string of women guests.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
This is the future.
You know, Kathy Johansson.
Great.
I had Deb Malone.
Oh, I love her.
My good friend Karen Mayo was on. And I had Teresa Knickerbocker. You know, and it is so important that we talk about empowering young women and, you know, how they could do anything, you know?
Yeah.
And I know you're involved with the young people. Talk about that.
Okay, I will. I love this list of women that you mentioned. You know, when I was first coming up in radio, Fran Gibbs was the mayor of Peekskill. And I just thought women were supposed to have powerful jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
It was a wonderful example for me. And these ladies following in her footsteps. So things that I love about my job is that it lets me go to schools and talk to kids and invite people to the radio station. You know, I have a list of people that I keep in the studio that I just jot down when the tourists come in, because I invite people all the time. Come, I say to the kids, come, bring your parents. I want to show everybody what can be, you know, and beyond. I always say, dream bigger than this. Anybody can do this, dream bigger than this. Yeah. So I love to empower young women, and I love to be around young women, and the older I get, the more I want to be around young women.
I love being around kids.
Because they keep us young, they educate us, and they help me with the smartphone.
Yep. All right, so you're a radio host at
WHUD.
And how long have you been doing that?
My whole life. My whole life. I started in 1985. I was,
oh my goodness.
I know. Wow. Waiting tables in Peekskill. Waited on Jerry Desmond, the morning man for WLNA. Love him still. We're planning lunch again soon. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, I waited on him, and Jimmy McHale was washing dishes at the restaurant, and he was the big football player on the high school sports. He was like, you got it. He says, you're in college, you're studying journalism. You should go talk to that guy. He works at the radio station. I introduced myself to Jerry. He gave me an internship. I was at WLNA 7 years. They kicked me across the hall to HUD, and I've been there ever since.
Unbelievable.
You know, I've worked all the different shifts and worn all the different hats, but now the morning show is coming up on 20 years in March.
That's excellent. Congratulations.
I can't believe those words are coming out of my mouth.
I know.
20 years in March.
Well, you can't stop time, but you can live in the moment, and you know, it's so important. You got to use your past so you don't make the same mistakes. You can't worry about the future.
True.
You got to live in the moment. You got to enjoy life. That's why it's so important. You know, my mother was unbelievable. She had 10 kids. You know, she didn't have one best friend. She had 5 best friends.
True.
But she was funny, you know. She had a lot of personality.
Yeah.
People looked up to her because she had 10 kids, you know. And, I mean, she did have a nervous breakdown at one point. I don't know how you couldn't without, you know.
She made it look easy. And she, even though she had 10 kids and a restaurant, she had so much love to give to other people.
She really did.
So much joy to give to other people. She, you know, and growing up, we grew up one street away from each other. She was a huge influence on my life.
Yeah, my neighbors, Rosemary Boyle and the Logues, Robbie Logue used to say all the time, you know, your parents, you know, they made the biggest difference in their lives.
They sure did.
And it was amazing. The whole town, really.
The whole town. They are the heart of the town, for sure.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
So, all right, now you started a food pantry in Verplank.
Yes. Do you want to know the story?
Sure.
Do you want to know the real story?
The whole story.
Okay, I'm going to tell you.
Okay. First of all, I want to say this is what the show is all about. Don't complain about what's going on. Get involved. Step up and do something.
Well, I never knew I was going to do this, but it really was divine intervention.
Awesome.
So I got a cat last year. I know, this is a kitten story. And last December, my kitten jumped over the fence into the neighbor's yard. I was like, oh, I gotta go get that cat. So I put my coat on, I walk into the neighbor's yard, had to like scooch through the fence, and they have a long backyard. So I'm walking down, because the cat's back here in the woods, and I'm walking down, and I realize I am alone in nature. That never happens, because I have 3 dogs. So usually when I'm outside, I've got 3 dogs and I'm like not paying attention. But I looked at my hands like, no dogs. I'm alone in nature. And then I looked up and said, hi, God.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that's when we communicate.
Sure.
And I was just so giddy, and I was like, need me to do anything? I swear, out loud. And the answer I felt back was, do all the good you can. And I literally went, got my cat, picked it up, brought it in the house, put it down, picked up the phone, called my sister Maria.
Yeah.
Maria, do you think we should open a food pantry at Mount Carmel Hall? And as the words came out of my mouth, I'm like, where are these words coming from? Yeah. And my sister said, that's a great idea. Now, you know my sister. She doesn't think I ever have a great idea. And I was like, you know, I don't think it was my idea, but I'm glad you're on board. And I called Vinny Altieri at Mount Carmel Hall. And I said, hey, do you think Maria and I could open a food pantry in your space, you know, under your name? And he said, that's a great idea. And I'm like, I don't think it was my idea, but I'll go with it. So I posted on Facebook last December, let's pack the pantry January 1st. January 1st of last year, 2019, families just kept pouring into Mount Carmel Hall in Verplanck, carrying groceries. My hand to God, I stood in the corner and like hyperventilated. Because I hadn't had any thought as to what to do next, right? I don't know about food pantries. So volunteers are wonderful. These 5 women stayed, you know, women like your mother who give and figure stuff out. They stayed, and they're going to figure out what to do with all this food. How to sort it, look for the dates, how to stack it, la, la, la. I'm still in the corner. Maria and I started dusting at that point, like, oh, yeah, go ahead. Well, they had an argument, these 5 women, but they figured it out. And by the end of the day, New Year's Day, 2019, we had food pantry. So we started opening once a month, then we saw we could open twice a month. The first time we opened in January of 2019, we had 8 families come through. Last week we had a pantry, 1 year later, 41 families.
Cool.
41 families. So in the middle of this year of pantry, I'm learning everything new. You know, the shoppers are teaching us what they need, and I'm learning. Feeding Westchester calls. That's the big umbrella group that provides food to lots of pantries. They get big corporate donations, and our dollars stretch farther there. Yeah. So they said, would you like to be an affiliate? And I said, sure. They came and inspected our pantry, gave us a few recommendations. Then I had to go down and train with them and learn how to become a food pantry affiliate. So I trained with 4 different women. They teach you about nutrition, and they teach you about how to offer and what to offer. And then the final woman that I met with taught me how to order online. She got done with her presentation. I will never forget this as long as I live. She put down her pen and she said, her name is Cora, and she says, Kacey, and she got tears in her eyes, I want to personally thank you for opening a food pantry at Mount Carmel Hall. She said, I live in Verplanck, and every weekend, she lives in Verplanck. I'm in Elmsford at the Feeding Westchester. Every weekend, I jog around the neighborhood, and every time I go past Mount Carmel Hall, I say a prayer that somebody would open a food pantry there. She says, my daughter's in the school district. I know there's a need. She says, I could picture our truck in your parking lot. And I said, Cora, this was your idea. I knew it wasn't my idea, and I think that's how it works. I said, God, need me to do anything? He was like, well, as a matter of fact, Cora would like a food pantry in Verplanck. And now she has one. So she has come, she's donated, and this past September, we started collecting coats and clothes, warm things, and we called it Cora's Closet. That was my idea. That was my first idea. So that's the whole story of the food pantry. Now, we serve under the umbrella of Mount Carmel Hall. You know, it's up to them. They give us the space. They allow us to do what we do, and it costs them money for lights, for heat, for air conditioning, for sometimes they need to plug the freezers in for us, you know. So the community really needs to thank Mount Carmel Hall, because they are footing the bill for this wonderful endeavor. And you know what? You see all your neighbors at the pantry. You never know who's in need, and you never know who's taking care of somebody else. We have a lot of people that come in to shop for families that maybe can't get out, don't have a car. It's amazing. It's been a great education. So that's the story of the pantry at Mount Carmel. Isn't that something?
Well, the thing is, you were open to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's a shame that, you know, I go to church on Sunday and it's not as crowded as when I was a kid. And, you know, you could say, well, the church turned people off. And you can't argue with that fact.
Nope.
You know. But you have to step up. You got to say, you know, I'm going to make a difference.
Right.
You know what I mean? I go to church. I'm showing people that it's important to go to church.
Right.
And, you know, all the answers are there too, you know.
Agreed.
You know, it's just...
The last time I saw you, you were coming down Church Hill. And you know what? Everything matters. You're walking down Church Hill, and I'm like, there's Victor just coming from Mass. And I don't go to Mass every week. I'm sorry, Aunt Millie. Aunt Millie would always say, no matter when you saw her, she would say, what Mass did you go to? I don't go every week, Aunt Millie, but seeing you come home from church, I'm like, I need to get back to church. I do go, but not as regularly as I should. But I see what you're saying. You step up, you make a difference, you find the answers.
Yeah. And then people say, well, maybe I'll go to church, you know. So as I'm walking, you were doing something with Dominic the Donkey?
Dominic the Donkey.
What was that all about?
So, you know the Italian song, Dominic the Donkey. Mount Carmel Society, you know, there's a men's club, there's a ladies' club. I'm a huge fan of both, but I'm sort of off to the side, my sister and I, as like the community outreach, right? So we have this young group of children. We call them the Principesse and the Gondolieri, little boys and little girls of Italian-American heritage and sometimes not, who just want to be part of a club to celebrate what happens at Mount Carmel Hall. The little girls wear crowns and sashes, and the guys dress up like the gondoliers with the black and white shirts, and they march in parades, and you know, they do fundraisers for us. And I thought it would be a fun thing for the kids and for the grown-ups to invite Dominic the Donkey to come for an hour photo shoot. So I found that Dominic the Donkey actually lives in Pauling. Who knew? And I called his agent and I said, can you come? And they gave us a nice rate. And we set up a little tent and we decorated it, and the little kids sold hot chocolate, and Dominic came and we wrapped him in a scarf and some jingle bells.
He was a good-looking donkey. I saw a picture. Yeah, he had some little nice head of hair there.
And we played 90 minutes of music. Every other song was Dominic the Donkey.
I love it.
And we stood in Mount Carmel Field in Verplank, and I have to tell you what happened. All of a sudden there was a shadow over the field, and we look up and there was a huge bald eagle overhead. Huge bald eagle, and just zoomed down over us on its way to the Hudson. And it felt like a blessing, you know? It felt like we were getting the thumbs up from on high. So yeah, Dominic the Donkey came to Mount Carmel Hall with the Principesse and Gondolieri. It was a lot of fun, a lot of fun. He'll be back.
Yeah. Now, talk about your show, Shine On.
Okay. So I do the morning show with Mike, and we have a ball, the news, the traffic, the weather, the sports. But I said to my boss, I can't believe it's 10 years ago, I said, I want to talk about other things. I want to talk about health and nutrition and dreams, you know, and living well. And he was like, go ahead. Should have thought of that sooner. So he gave me Sunday morning. So now it's been 10 years of this little show called Shine On, the Health and Happiness Show. Then podcasting became a thing. So I asked my nephew like 5 years ago, make me a podcast platform. So now the show goes out as a podcast all over the world on all the podcasting platforms. It's wonderful. It's great. We formed a community on Facebook called A Circle of Women, because most of the people who listen to the podcast are women. Men, you're invited to listen, but you know, it's very female-centric. So we started this Facebook page called A Circle of Women. From A Circle of Women, I made another page called A Circle of Prayer. We're talking a lot about God tonight, but it's part of the story.
For it. Yeah.
Because people on the Circle of Women were posting their tips and their businesses and what they do to stay healthy and well. And oftentimes someone would post a prayer request. And I wasn't sure everyone on that page was like comfortable with that, so I started a separate page, A Circle of Prayer. Then there was a group of girls that wanted to lose weight, so I started a page for them called A Circle of Sweat. We don't have much action over there. We think about sweating, but really, the main stuff works on these 2 pages, a circle of women and a circle of prayer. On a circle of prayer one day, a mom asked me to post a prayer request for her adult daughter who had 3 little kids and had to get out of a bad situation. And I posted this prayer request, please pray for this woman. The response to that prayer request from the women on the page was unbelievable. What does she need? How can I help? What can we do? Does she need this? Does she need a job? Does she need that? And how can I help? And I wrote back like, well, you really can't help because she doesn't even know we're praying for her. But, and she's doing great now, by the way. Wow. But that day, I said to my husband, I want to start a foundation. I want to start a foundation for women so we can help, right? We call it Let It Shine Incorporated, gathering love and giving it away. You know who's on the board? Your neighbor, Rosemary Boyle-Lasher. Huge help.
Hi, Rosemary.
Hi, Ro. And what we're going to do, what we have done, we are collecting money, and eventually we'll collect things, and we're just going to give it away to people who need it. And not only for when people are in trouble, but to help make people's dreams come true. Maybe somebody needs one more college course, to get their degree. Maybe somebody always wanted to take an art class, can't find the funds. There's so many grandparents today raising grandkids. Maybe they need bunk beds. We're gonna help. So we're having a kickoff party March 8th in my new hometown, my current hometown of Cold Spring. Verplank will always be my hometown, but my current home of Cold Spring, we're having a kickoff party at the Hudson House March 8th, and that's what we're going to do. Gather love and give it away. And it all came from that little Sunday morning show.
So we do have your email, and we've got where we can contact.
Yes, Kacey.co, Kacey.co. Okay. Why is it .co and not .com? Because .com was very expensive. Somebody owns that, Kacey.com. Oh. They probably think Kacey Musgraves is going to buy it from them or something. Yeah. I don't know. But I don't need it. You keep it, and I'll just get Kacey.co. I think it was 99 cents.
I'm a big fan of Mother Teresa, another woman. And, she's got so many different sayings, but the biggest thing, that she talks about is just to smile at people, And I hear so many people say, why is he staring at me? Why is he looking at me? Why not? You're probably nice to look at, So just give him a little smile and a wave, Why are you being offended if somebody's looking at you? And this is where it just starts, just by smiling at people.
It's amazing.
And waving and being open to be, friendly rather than to be combative,
Right. Right.
Well, I heard a saying where, if you have a cup of coffee and you spill the coffee, coffee comes out of the cup. If you have tea in the cup, then tea comes out of the cup. Now, if somebody bumps into you and you're full of love and joy and happiness, and you say, hey, how are you? No problem,
Right.
But if you're full of anger and hate and, that's what's going to come out of you.
That's what's going to come out of your cup.
You
You said Mother Teresa, and I was just thinking of her the other day because I read a lot about her, and she was alive during several presidencies, and I read that every president in the White House was afraid to take her call because as lovely as she was
a tough cookie.
She was a tough cookie.
Yeah.
When she needed money or resources or had an idea, she was a tough cookie.
Wow.
But some days I just observe and I try to look for, and it's so easy here in Peekskill, look for people who are smiling. Look for people who are waving. Look for the people who let you in traffic, and you just look for those things, and that's like humanity at its finest. Just those little things. You can see a lot of it like around the Peekskill coffee shop. Just people being good to each other. I love it.
And the other thing she said is a huge saying of hers is to put the child at the center of the being. And that was my parents. They put us first. They didn't do anything for themselves until we were taken care of.
Right.
And they raised great kids.
Yes, they did.
There's never been a problem with any of us. You know, we all get together. We still love each other.
Yeah, that's
you know,
amazing.
We, you know, when they passed, we sold their house. There wasn't one problem.
Right.
You know, because we were all taken care of, because we all learned how to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, and the biggest thing is we have to put our attention back on the children.
Yeah,
and
in a
try,
healthy way.
Of course.
In a healthy way. Not, you know, in a healthy way.
You know,
that,
education.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about, you hate to use the word ignorance, but if you don't know something, you don't know something.
That's right. And
And
we don't know what we don't know. So you have to be open to learning new things.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. We have to be open-minded. And, you know, humility is a tough word sometimes, but, you know, to say, okay, I don't know, you know, and they talk about the fear and the pride, you know. You're afraid to say that you don't know because
Right.
you're prideful, you know.
Right.
So,
I could go on this
Yeah, we can
topic
go on
for a
that for a-
long, long time. Yes. Yes.
but,
yes.
you know, another thing my parents taught me was, you know, it's not about me, you know. Of course, I got to take care of myself, but you have to give back. You have to be able to,
Right.
you know, help others. And I think you're doing a wonderful thing with the food pantry. But we have to say hi to my niece Amanda, who's
Oh,
been helping
Amanda.
you.
Amanda, thank you so much. Amanda Margiotta, first of all, I love what she's doing for the Paradise. She's doing all the
Yeah.
Facebook stuff.
Yep.
I love it. Because, you know, if you can't get to the Paradise every week, you can see what's going on.
Sure.
And she's she's such a helper at the food pantry. She's amazing.
Yeah, excellent.
So, Amanda, thank you for tuning in.
All right, and now how can other people get involved and help out?
Well, go to the Mount Carmel site. It's olmcv.org. Let me explain. Our Lady, Mount Carmel, Verplank. olmcv.org. You can find out about all the things they do at Mount Carmel, including the feast, the third weekend in July.
Yeah.
And I think they're coming up on 98 years. 98 years. And there's a page there that links you to the pantry. And there's a page there that links you to the children's group. And you can also apply for the high school scholarships come spring. We're going to give out again for, I think, the fourth year, 2 $500 scholarships.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now you did the pageant, the
Yes.
Miss Young Italian.
Yes, little Miss
You don't
Italia.
have to be Italian,
You don't have
but-
to be Italian, but that's how we got our Principesse. So now we have, instead of one head of the crown, we've got all the girls wear crowns, and they're wonderful. They're wonderful.
That is
We have to come up with a spring fundraiser for the kids. They'll do something. The parents are amazing, and I'm sure we'll do something like a festival of some kind for the kids.
It was a shame this year. It didn't rain during the feast, but it was just so hot. I mean, it's funny how that'll deter
It was
people.
100 degrees.
Yeah.
My sister and I are selling the cannolis. Oh my goodness, it was 100 degrees. Even at night,
Yeah.
it was 100 degrees.
It never cooled off.
I drank Gatorade like it was going out of style. Paper towels were stuffed everywhere. We just sweat for days, but you know what? 98 years, baby, we're still there. They're still there doing it.
Now, people want to get involved.
Yeah.
So if, like you say, you're setting up, now you're going to set up another fundraiser. And it's just a matter of getting the word out.
This is amazing. What the food pantry taught me, I could write a book about. We opened the doors. We said bring food. People keep showing up to give more with more ideas. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's collect this. Let's give that away. I know how to make it better. I know how to make it faster. I know how to make it more efficient. I can't get over how many people just keep showing up with great ideas. And Cortland Rowing, you see them there always doing food drives for us. Peekskill Elks doing food drives for us. Mount Airy Preschool. Backstage Salon. Super Food Town in Croton.
Awesome.
I could go on and on with the Dennis Malice from the Montrose Business Association, the Verplank Senior Citizens, Buchanan Beautification Committee, the whole community in the greater Cortland area and beyond. People want to do good. We just opened the doors and they came in and did it.
Yeah.
They taught me what to do. It's amazing.
I always said if you just held people by the hand, They're dying to help out.
Yeah.
This thing, Alex's Army, you know,
Oh
she
my
didn't want
gosh.
to. Don't let her fight alone.
Yeah, that was
I
amazing.
mean, look how many people got involved.
Yeah,
You know,
and that young
And-
girl's journey towards health. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness. Yeah, and there's a little boy Franklin too, and it's the same thing. The community. Gosh, we live in a great place.
We do.
Everybody comes forward and wants to help. It's
They
good.
really do.
It's good.
Excellent. So, with the Shine On, you mentioned the exercise and the sweating.
Yes, yes, yes.
But-
The circle of sweat, the circle of prayer, and then a circle of women. Yeah, and now the foundation. Did I tell you about the foundation?
No.
Oh, I could talk to you forever. Sorry. All because of these Facebook pages. Now we're launching this foundation, Let It Shine Inc. And yes, I did. I said we're going to
Yeah.
gather love and give it away. So what we want people to do, thank you for reminding me, is we want people to contact us. Right now it's on my website, Kacey.co. But we want people to contact us and tell us what they need and
There you
where
go.
they need it.
Right. That's the problem. How you know, you don't just
Yeah.
start knocking on people's door.
Yeah.
You got to give them the opportunity to say, hey, I need help.
And this is what I was most concerned with. How are we going to find the people we want to help? But now I realize it's just from conversation. I was talking to a girl the other day, a woman, she works at a assisted living, and they have a resident there, just lost everything in a fire, and she had to move in with nothing. Well, this is somebody we can help.
Sure.
We've got the funds to buy her new clothes or buy her things for her apartment. So right now that woman is checking with her family to see, you know, what does she need? How can we help? That's a good tagline too. What do you need and how can we help?
Quick, write that
So
down.
we want, if you're watching, we want you to talk to people, tell them about Let It Shine Inc. And when we say we're helping women, we're helping the whole family,
Yes.
right?
Of
You know,
course.
we're helping moms and grandmas, we're helping sisters, you know, so don't let that steer you off course. You just let us know what you need and how we can help. We also have this amazing advisory panel of professionals who, you know, from therapists to acupuncturists and everything in between that we can call on and say, how do you think we can best help this person? Because I don't have the answers.
Right.
But I just put the chairs out and the right people will find them. Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I helped out at the Rotary Club.
Oh my
They
gosh,
had the
the
horse
Rotary.
show, and it was unbelievable. It was
And
awesome.
that horse show, how old is that?
That's got to be 50 years old.
Oh, I think it's more.
Yeah.
I think it's
But the
more.
people
but they're
involved-
amazing.
They are amazing. What a great bunch of people, you know.
Yeah.
This year, for some reason, they had a Oktoberfest
Mm-hmm.
down in Peekskill,
Right?
and they had the Oktoberfest in Croton. So
Mm-hmm. You
the
didn't make it.
timing was a little off, and there wasn't, a lot of people.
Oh.
But it's got to be, it's coordinated. It's like the one year that the Mount Carmel, the feast was at the same year as, or same week as
St. Augustine's.
St. Augustine's,
Oh my God, and we didn't know which way to go for our sausage and pepper.
I know.
That
So
was
these things,
Yeah.
well, that's why they plan a year in,
But
in
isn't it
advance.
amazing that there's so much going on in our
Yeah,
community
yeah.
in this gorgeous Hudson Valley river town? We're so lucky.
Definitely. I love you.
I love you.
All right. I'm Victor Margiotta. This is the Community Show. Thank you for watching.